Hi, this is Jessica, an Enneagram life coach, and this video is the second in a short series about how do you know if somebody is healthy? And the reason we have that question is because I have offered up that for friendships or for romantic partners or bosses or coworkers, the most important thing about that'll predict how well the relationship will be or will go is not whose Enneagram type is whatever, because actually all of the numbers are amazing when they're healthy and they're all horrendous when they're not healthy. So then the question would be, well, how do I know if I am healthy? That's the first question you should be asking. Also, that's worth mentioning too, right? Let's all get the log out of our own eye first before we start worrying about the splinter in other people's eyes. Or in other words, most of us have like a lifetime of work to do on our own Enneagram type. So wagging fingers at partners and friends and siblings isn't super healthy, especially for one who hasn't done a lot of work themselves. Generally speaking, by the way, side note here, but people who do recovery work, even though they don't do Enneagram specifically, they do a lot of work on their shadow side and things that they might engage in that are not healthy. And I would say Enneagram work is great for people in recovery. I coach a lot of people who are in recovery. But even if you're not in recovery from addiction, from substance addiction, doing deep dives on who you are and how you're wired and what your shadow side is extremely healthy for yourself, and that will reverberate then throughout your relationships in your life. Okay, so the last video we did, we spoke about what it is when somebody is unhealthy. Let's now go into average levels of health. Okay, now most of us, especially before you've ever heard of Enneagram, myself included, this is where most of us live. The unhealthy types, a lot of people are unhealthy too, and that can happen if you've had a rough life, if you've got a lot of trauma, if you happen to, I don't know how else to say it other than like habitually make bad decisions, like time and time again. You know, you find yourself in your 30s and 40s and you've just been making bad decisions your whole life. That'll lead to some, what I call a yarn ball that will need to be unraveled, right? So how do we know when somebody's at average levels? Well, this is kind of like where most people are. Most of the 8 billion people on this planet are in what we would call in Enneagram world, the trance. The trance meaning stuck in their type, following out the actions and the behaviors of their type. Now, the 9 Enneagram types are so different from one another that it truly is the case that people who understand this system of human behavior, you can spot it with years of practice. Sometimes, so I'll give you an example. I definitely don't go around Enneagram typing people because that's way mentally exhausting and I don't have time for that. Many of my friends, I have no idea what their Enneagram numbers are. But there have been times definitely where I'm at, let's say, a party and I meet somebody and they're clearly a certain Enneagram type and it's like they're doing all the behaviors of that type. So there are times where even though I'm not looking for it, somebody can be so locked into the archetype of their personality or of their ego or of their Enneagram that they're in the trance. And when somebody is in that, they might even be unhealthy, but they could be in the average ranges, because the healthier you are, the harder it is for people to notice your Enneagram number, even people who know the Enneagram really well. If you're really healthy, people won't necessarily know your type because you're not only responding the way your type responds. But on the flip side of that, if you are constantly showing up the way your type responds, people are going to be able to sense that that's your Enneagram type. Okay, so how do we know when people are in the trance or in average levels of health? Well, one way we know it is they're kind of okay with life as long as they have what their type needs for them to be okay. So it's something like, I'm just doing this off the cuff, so this isn't like exact, but it's like if you're a 1, like as long as things are relatively perfect, you're okay, and if they're not, you're unraveled. If you're a 2, it's like as long as everybody loves you and you're everyone's favorite, that's great, but if not, down you go. If you're a 3, as long as everybody thinks well of you and thinks you're the winner and the high achiever and believes the image you're putting forward, that's great. As long as, if you're a 4, as long as you feel like you're being understood, which by the way, you never will feel that way as a 4, but like if you were ever to get to that magical place as a 5, it's if you are thinking and trying to fit everything into a logical framework of cause and effect, and excluding other factors like body, real life, or emotions. That's a clue for 5s. If you're a 6, if you're just highly anxious and scared and warning everybody about all the problems all the time and everything that could go wrong all the time, or if you're sick all the time, every time we talk to you, you've got another ailment or a headache or your back hurts or your knees are aching, or that's 6 space. If you're a 7, if everything is just irresponsibility and fun, and an inability to sit still and to be quiet and hold your tongue. If you're an 8, if you're trying to possess everyone around you in your environment and you're dominating and you're loud and you're turned up full volume. Or if you're a 9, if there's no conflict anywhere and everything feels peaceful and calm, and you're not bothered by anything. Okay. It's like, if you can only be okay in those circumstances, then you're stuck in your type, right? Because a human who is awake and present to every moment can say, even though I don't have fill in the blank, which I would prefer to have based on my personality, I know this is also part of the human experience and I can deal with this effectively. Okay, another thing is the social stance that you have. I hesitate to use the word image because then I feel like our minds go to the image types. But social roles here means whatever your type sort of is to the world, or in your mind, what you are to your family and to your friends and to your coworkers and to your partner and to the world. If that is like, if you're preoccupied with how people are reading you and you want them to see you the certain way your type is, that's not good, right? You see the trend here? The trend is if your Enneagram number is calling the shots instead of you calling the shots, right? The least healthy we are, the more our Enneagram number is making all of our decisions for us and we're not present and making decisions ourselves. And if people who know you can predict how you're going to respond, because you always do this same thing over and over and over and over, that's also probably a clue that you're stuck in your type. Because when we are free, and that'll be the next video here shortly, when we are free, we are not beholden to any one way of responding. We can respond in real time as truth and light and love direct us. Thanks for watching. Please like and follow my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.